Hey everybody, we're back with Birddogs, Bourbon, and the Good Life. This is episode 16. We are trying Old Forester, King Ranch. Tim and I really enjoy it. We're here today with Tim, and he's going to introduce himself and what his company is. And
I'm Tim Woolsey with Woolsey Monument Company in Hutchinson, and we make headstones and we do cemetery restoration, older stones.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quickly ask, how'd you get into the restoration side of your business?
We started doing restoration, so that's how we got into all the business. But 2007, a guy called me that managed a couple of cemeteries. One of them got hit by a tornado, knocked over a bunch of headstones. They couldn't find anybody to fix it. I guess he just, assumed I wasn't doing anything. and he was right. So we went down there. We fixed up 48 of the 52 headstones in this old cemetery out in the pasture. And word got out that we could do that. So we got more business and just did it part-time. And 10 years later, we started selling some new stones here and there. Decided, hey, we should open up a store. Funeral home, pretty big funeral home here in town, gave us their blessing.
Yeah.
So we said, for sure, let's do it. And now we have two stores, one in Hutch, one in Wichita.
Doing well?
Doing well.
Good. So just so everybody knows, this is not the standard format. Tim's been on before. Just
briefly,
but we never got his podcast out because technical difficulties. We believed we had this fixed. So Tim and I just sat through an hour of a very good conversation. And we're going to try to recap that for you. I apologize. But life is what it is, and as entrepreneurs,
this is going to be a great 30-minute podcast.
This is going to be fantastic. So, one of the things we were talking about before life happens, you went to a seminar about leadership.
Yeah,
correct.
It was Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
And Dave Ramsey gave you, I'm going to call it the steak sauce version.
Yes.
Of how to prep your day.
Sure.
Right? Could you walk us through that?
Yeah. So this is what they talked about was what Dave does.
Yeah.
Not just, this is what you should do. This is what we do.
Yeah.
So this is what Dave does. He calls it his steak sauce because he gets a piece of paper out. He lists everything he needs to do. And then he, the things that need to be done tomorrow are A's. And then the things that need to be done but can wait, but maybe if they wait too long, they're going to turn into A's. Those are going to be your B's. And then the things that maybe you should just let somebody else do if they get done at all, those are your C's.
Okay.
So then he goes back through and he labels, what's the most important A. Okay, that's going to be A1. So that's where you get your steak sauce, right? So you got A1, A2, A3, A5. If you got more than 5, you got too many A's. Right? You got too many things. So then, you have your B, 1 through 5 or so, and then your C's. If everything's important, nothing's important.
Correct. 100%. Yep.
So then you go start your day off with A1. You start your day off with your steak sauce. And then as soon as that's done, A2 becomes A1. So you spend your whole day doing steak sauce, and if you get distracted, that's okay. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Do your distraction real quick. Come back to your list. Get back to your steak sauce.
And the key to that is focusing your day. Right. And I really like that because he isn't like a lot of people put down all the things they need to get done in a day, and they'll jump around to get their quick wins. But a lot of the times their quick wins aren't the A's.
Sure.
there may be some B's and some C's and maybe even some D's, right?
Sure.
But though I like the fact that that steak sauce idea is fantastic
Sure.
because there's some people believe that if you got to put steak sauce on it to kick it up a notch, right?
Sure.
Which if you had our barbecue, you wouldn't need that. But
No.
yeah.
Well,
So
the low hanging fruit isn't always ripe.
no, it isn't. No, it is not. So while we were talking earlier, you were skirting around some interesting conversations, and we used in the last half, we used bourbon as so. You're redeveloping the mission of your statement or your company.
Right.
To move forward, to be more efficient, have more clarity.
Sure.
So when you were talking about that before, you said something, and I'm going to generically just throw it out there, and so you can build on it the way you did before. You write it on the wall and let everybody see it.
Yeah.
And what happens when you do that?
So what we're doing is we're we've got a story from where we've started to where we are today, and that story doesn't change.
Yep.
That story is past.
Yeah.
So you've got that, and you've written that down, and everybody that you've hired should know this is where we came from. This is why we started. This is why we are a business, and it's our passion, right? But here's the future, and here's why we want to be there, and here's how we're going to get there. Here's all the steps that we think needs to take place. Write all that down, put it on the wall, let everybody read it, and what you'll find is somebody in the company, might be the guy that sweeps the floor. In a few days, from telling everybody that, somebody will come to you and say, hey, here's this step. I know it's out here 6 months, but I think if we do this or this, this maybe came across my table, that we could get that done now, and maybe even cheaper than if we waited. You'll find that happens.
So far since you've started doing this, does it seem like your employees are more engaged?
Sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Do they?
So there's, I'll give you an example. There's a couple of bathrooms that create a room in my building.
Okay.
And on that plan is to remove those bathrooms. We're just going to wipe it out and assume all that open space into the open production floor. It's just on the list. I'm not aggressively doing this. It needs to be done. Within 2 days of telling everybody, this is on the list. It needs to be done. Here it is. Somebody, hey, I'm kind of done with my day a little early. Next thing I know, he's cleaning out the bathrooms. What are you doing? Well, I'm just getting ready to take these out. I didn't have anything else to do. It facilitated
Opportunity.
somebody finding something to do that was to the end goal. And if they don't know the end goal,
that's pretty daggum smart. So your employee took it upon themselves to clean out the bathrooms because you had helped them see the vision of the company.
yes,
And when you engage your employees, they have a tendency to want to help you meet your vision
right,
to hopefully continue their employment and all kinds of other things.
sure,
And good employees want the business they work for to grow and profit,
yes,
right?
yeah,
And speaking about growing and profiting, we were talking earlier a little bit, and you were telling me this it was really engaging to me about a cup and wine.
yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about the cup and wine?
So it's a Jewish practice. I'm not Jewish. I've only heard about the
Yeah.
practice. Right. But it's something they do on the Sabbath table, which is a Sunday dinner table. They all get together and have a meal. And it's a practice where they'll put a cup on a saucer and they'll pour wine into it until it's completely full. And then they'll pour more so that it overflows. And it's just a kind of a representation of a wish that their week to come overflows with abundance and that they can give back and give to others.
Okay. So when they do this, so I'm going to rephrase something that you said a little bit. So they're pouring into this. I'm going to use this phrase, ceremonial cup with ceremonial dish, right? Because I'm assuming it's a religious belief.
Yes.
And I'm assuming through this practice they're praying or symbolizing the desire to be able to earn enough to give back.
Yes.
Right? Because we all know you only can give what you can give. And if your cup is X full and you still got 2 inches to get to the top,
Sure.
you can't give.
Right.
And if you do give, you got to take from somewhere else, right?
Right. Right.
So this practice is what every entrepreneur strives to do.
All the good ones, yeah.
All the good ones,
Yeah.
yeah. So we as entrepreneurs, we're constantly trying to grow our businesses. We're constantly pushing the edge. We're constantly trying to do the best we can with what we have.
Sure.
And by meeting the goals and expectations of overflowing the cup, right? And I love that phrase. I can't stress to you how much I love that phrase, because that's what all of us do. And when all these communities, the community
Right.
comes to us and says, hey, can you give to this? Can you give to this? Can you give to this? That's the wine in the bottom of the dish. Because if we don't have any wine in the bottom of the dish, we can't give to
Yeah.
the other. We can't give to the baseball team. We can't give to the Pheasants Forever group. We can't give to the other groups out there and try to help those groups to be able to go out and do whatever they need to do.
Right.
So that's pretty huge, because one of the things that I would stress is after you go to Walmart and you spend $100 at Walmart, right, and you buy whatever you need, right? So have you guys ever looked to see, like, your softball team or your baseball team or your nonprofit or whatever it is, when you're going around and asking for donations, did you get your check from China?
Right.
Right.
No.
And I'm not being mean, right? Did you get
And
your
not to say that Walmart wouldn't
donate
if you asked them.
And I'm not
But-
saying that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, are you getting your check from the other countries
Yeah.
that you're spending your money on?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So we can throw the same thing for Brazil. We can throw it for Europe. We can throw it for Mexico, whatever.
Sure.
You're not getting your check from the Mexican government to pay for this.
Right.
To support your baseball team, to support you are literally getting it from your local
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
your local entrepreneurs. You're not going to get a check
Yeah.
from anywhere
Yeah.
other than your local people. Unless you're a really big nonprofit, you're not getting a check from the government, U.S. government either.
No.
So let's be clear, but the only way you're going to get the money is to spend the money local
Right.
with local businesses like yours.
Sure.
But when you go to Walmart, not saying Walmart wouldn't give a little to you, not saying they won't either.
I don't think they sell headstones.
Yeah, they don't sell headstones. Don't. Let's not walk that path. But so long and the short of it is, shop local.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that
Sure.
you're not supporting the local community
Right.
to give back to your local community needs by helping them overfill their cup. Right.
Sure.
Because entrepreneurs can't do it without support.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of support from a local
Funeral home.
here in Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Really good guy.
Really good.
Tom Elliott.
Tom Elliott Mortuary.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
There isn't anything that goes on in Hutchinson that his name's not attached to.
Right. His cup overflows a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how big his cup is, but I know it overflows a lot.
I've heard, we're not going to talk about it. It's plenty big.
Sure.
And he's a fantastic, and the most important thing is he's not like stuck up.
No.
The guy drinks natural light beer.
Well, you can't judge him on that.
No, I'm just saying. It threw me for a loop. He was like, well, Stephen, yeah, I'm more than happy to give to the banquet, blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
I let people pick the whiskey they want at their table, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, we're really not whiskey drinkers. I was like, well, you tell me what you want. I'll guarantee you it'll be there. He goes, can you get natural light? And I'm like, whatever you want, buddy.
Whatever.
So we put 5 cases of Natty Light and coolers on ice at his table. But
and people don't know this, but that last banquet, he had 2 tables, I think.
no, he had 4.
4 tables, and he didn't even come.
Yeah, he couldn't come. You want to know why?
He was too busy.
He was too busy the rest of the week, and then his daughter was, I think, graduating college.
Yeah.
And he called me and said, hey, I'm not going to make it. And this is the thing. He called me.
Yeah.
And this man is traveling literally the United States every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
He calls me up and says, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it, so on and so forth. And I was like, who in the hell would judge you for spending time with your daughter instead of coming to a stupid banquet?
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, great guy. Bye.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best men I know. So we were going through that, and the other thing I like to ask everybody on the podcast, most memorable, the funniest and most memorable hunting fishing trip
Sure.
that you've experienced.
I don't think I've had one.
Really? You've said it 3 times. Or at least twice. This is the 3rd.
Okay. So it's the same trip, hunting and most memorable, funny. Same trip. I was 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Went to our farm, which is up north central Kansas, with my dad and my grandfather to go bird hunting. We're going to go walk some fields. And been walking a good part of the day with some other guys from up there, and one of them had a dog, so we felt pretty confident. We hadn't seen a bird.
Oh.
Most of the day, hadn't seen a bird. And I finally see this little quail kind of pop up in front of me and fly a little bit and land down in the grass, and I thought, this is my shot right here, you know. So I don't think I looked away from that blade of grass. Shouldered my gun as we slowly crept up, and that bird flapped maybe 4 times. Maybe 4 times. And I smoked it. And I just a puff of feathers and maybe a leg is all we found. And I remember the farmer being pretty mad that we couldn't eat it because it was the only bird we shot. But that was pretty good. I don't think I'll forget that one.
No. And the thing about it is, who were you with?
My dad and my grandfather.
So after that experience,
Yeah.
how many times did you get the opportunity to hunt with your grandpa?
That was the last time.
So it was the last time you had the opportunity to spend time with your grandpa, your dad, and you. 3 generations.
Yeah.
All
Hunting.
at the same time. Hunting, doing what you all loved, and spending time together.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that really is, in my mind, more of the hunting heritage than anything else we do.
Sure. So, no, we were talking about that. And spending time with your family, enjoying your family, is the bulk of hunting.
Yes,
today.
it is.
We don't have to hunt for food.
No.
I mean, while most of us enjoy eating what we've
Harvested.
what we've killed, harvested. It's nicer to say harvested.
Yes.
And that is, you know, I don't personally. I'm not going to go out and harvest something and then just throw it away.
No.
I'm just not the guy. If
No.
I'm not going to eat it,
Why
I'm
shoot
not
it in
gonna
the first
shoot
place?
it.
Yeah.
I can go out there, take a picture of it, and enjoy it alive.
Just as much. Yeah.
Sure. So, the past few years, I've been lucky enough to have a father-in-law that had a pretty nice place to go hunt ducks. And,
Yeah, just a little bit.
yeah. So, you know, we'd go out there and spend the night, and then get up early in the morning and go hunting, and then after we were done hunting, we'd go eat breakfast, you know.
Yeah.
It was always way more about the night before and the breakfast than it was about killing some ducks that nobody liked to eat.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. You and I need to get together next time you get a round of ducks. Let's get together and let me show you a couple dishes to make.
Sure.
So we had a cooking class. My wife, Pheasants Forever, and so CQ Game Birds now has a waterfowl guide, and I've never waterfowl hunted, believe it or not. And so I was like, I hired you,
Yeah.
prove it,
Yeah.
right? And so he took us out teal hunting. We got several teal, and I thought, well,
And they move fast.
yes, they do.
I hate teal.
And then I was like, okay, I've got a cooking class coming up. We're going to make a dish with teal. And so what we did is I made a teal dish that's kind of an appetizer, but I had so many teal that it was like a main dish. And it has apples and bacon and
Sure.
some pretty awesome stuff in it. And then my wife and I have a marinade for goose. And so you slice the goose breasts up and wrap them in bacon.
Yeah.
It tastes like filet mignon.
Yeah. Yeah. We've done bacon wrapped and
Well, we're talking a literal filet mignon about 1.5 inches thick,
Yeah.
seared, braised. Matter of fact, the lady that lets us use their facility for the cooking classes, Apron Strings, Downtown Hutch,
Yeah.
she was begging me to do that dish again.
Why didn't you?
Well, because I don't have any goose right now.
They got a bunch at the park down
Yeah, just go down and shoot them.
there. Just lure them to your car with bread. You don't even have to shoot 'em.
Just a little bread.
Well fed.
Yeah, well fed. Those good fat content on those. So
We don't condone that. It's awesome.
no, don't do that unless the opportunity presents itself. No, we're joking.
If you hit one with a car,
Oops,
just make sure you're on the road.
not in the pond.
Yeah.
So she really, matter of fact, she was raving about that.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how with the right experiences that you can cook some things that most people are like, I ain't eating it.
Yeah.
And they're like, ooh, that's really good.
Yeah.
So maybe next time we should get together and maybe if we can get hard drives to work,
Yeah.
we'll be able to do a podcast cooking your waterfowl.
Maybe.
That'd be pretty awesome. I think the next podcast we're going to do, and what we're going to try to do, is you've got a headstone that we've talked about that you're going to be cutting.
Right.
I think we're going to come down and we're going to try to record you cutting that headstone.
We'll go through the whole process.
The entire process of prepping the headstone, everything, get that done, and then we're going to tag it onto this. So this podcast will be a little bit delayed because we're going to try to get with you and get this whole thing lined out and so that everybody gets to see the things that you do.
That's the number one question. How do you make those?
Yeah. How do you make those? And how do you...
A little bitty hammer.
Yeah.
Takes forever.
And can you... Imagine doing that in the past.
I know how they're made.
Yeah.
I'm in the industry, okay? And I go to cemeteries, and you see this giant headstone. It's like from the 1800s. And you can see the tool marks on it.
Yeah.
But then you think, how did they get it here? Like, not just the logistics of making that headstone today would be difficult, let alone with a horse.
Yeah.
And then setting it with a horse. I mean, at 1800s, they didn't have a car.
Yeah.
You know, and this thing weighs 10,000 pounds. And it's granite. We don't have any granite around here.
Yeah.
This thing had to travel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say 10 men and a little boy.
Oh, man. It's crazy.
And I'm joking, people, but the little boy's still with the granite because he probably fell on him. Yeah. The stone is so heavy.
It is.
It's amazingly heavy.
It's 186 pounds a cubic foot if you wanted to math it out. So
cubic foot. 186
that right there
pounds.
186 pounds. That right there is more than most people can pick up.
Wow. I was thinking like 50. I'm not sure I could pick it up. Straight at my age, and something would pop.
I can tell you, a little 2 foot by 1 foot headstone. It's only 4 inches thick. I pick those up and haul them off through the shop. Probably shouldn't. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're over 100 pounds.
Yeah.
But that's about the smallest thing we sell. Everything else you got to use a mechanism.
Yeah. Forklift, crane, something, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing how much that stuff weighs, right? So with your company gives to so many organizations.
Sure.
You give to Pheasants Forever. You give to So Pheasants Forever is nationally known, right? And then one of the big things that you do, your company gives to an organization that creates scholarships. And
sure.
could you tell us how that scholarship program was created?
So it's the company the scholarship you're talking about is the Buddy Bryant scholarship. It was actually my wife's cousin who was killed in a car crash. I think he was 18. Yeah, 18. Anyway, he was killed in a car crash tragically, and in order to kind of commemorate him, if you will, and to help high school kids that are about his age when he died and all these things, his family started this scholarship. They go to the 2 high schools that he attended, and they look for applicants, and then they give them like $500 a semester towards their books or something like that. So they do different fundraisers, and we support them in one of their fundraisers every year, and it's been really interesting. It's growing every year.
Yes.
Great. Most of those don't.
Yeah.
Most of them are real big the first few years while everybody's thinking about it, and then they take off. But this has been, gosh, I bet 18, 20 years now.
Wow.
Maybe not quite that long, but
that's quite a while.
yeah, I think they've given out. I think they said the number was about $75,000.
So, and that's a pretty huge, because you think about it, most people going to college, their financial means are pretty strapped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if they've got loans and all that, they're still the less money you use, the less money you got to pay back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even $500 in books. I remember when I went back to school, $500 in books don't go far.
That wouldn't buy you all of them.
No, not even close.
Which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, we won't go there. But the important thing about that is they are giving something.
Yeah.
And it's not just one kid, it's numerous kids in the area.
I don't think, if you apply, I don't think they turn you down.
Oh,
I
really?
don't think it's like we have this many. I think it's just all these kids applied. Okay.
Oh,
Let's raise the money.
yeah, let's raise the money and give it to them.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
It is great. And I know you were going to come to Pheasants Forever golf tournament, but you had some other obligations, and which is cool. And we did, I think we raised all $3,500 or something. We covered all our youth expenses for the year.
Awesome.
Through that event, and this was the first year we did it through a golfing event. So it's really good that the community comes together the way they do to support all the local things.
Sure.
One of the things that I would like to talk to you about is obviously the name of our company is Birddogs, Bourbon, and the Good Life, right? And we feel bad having you drink bourbon with us without a heck of a good meal. So what'd you think about the meal this evening?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
This is a big steak. Big old ribeye.
Yeah, but would you expect anything
pretty
less?
Good potatoes and corn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
We put on the steak, we developed, I think everybody's heard this numerous times, Spinks Ranch beef rub.
Yeah.
So Spinks Ranch is a cattle company in Missouri that asked us to fine-tune their beef rub.
Yeah.
So we fine-tuned the beef rub. So was your steak sweet at all?
It was terrible. I don't remember it being sweet.
No. So what we've done is we've been able to develop a rub that has sugar in it that you can also put on steak, and it's not sweet.
Right.
You won't taste the sweetness of it. So we've been mixing it just straight into hamburger here lately, and one of the best hamburger seasonings out there, in my opinion. Well, we make it, so little biased.
Yeah.
But you didn't have a problem finishing that steak.
No. Well, it was
Well, you were full,
I was full.
but
I couldn't chew the bone.
well, we could have let you chew on it for a while.
Cook it a little longer, maybe.
Yeah.
I had to marinate it for a month.
that bone might be a little chewy, right? Yeah.
Vinegar softens them up.
I want to pick on you about your hat that's on the table.
This is a nice hat.
Yes, it is a very nice hat. It looks like it says Waste Management.
Wait, that's WM for Woolsey Monument.
Oh, okay. Okay, I
And
thought
if you get in trouble and you turn it over, it's still Woolsey Monument.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we put our address on the bill somewhere so
Maybe
they can
we
take
should.
us home?
Maybe we should. Yeah, upside down.
So
Take me home.
So one of the things I'm picking on you about your hat, but your hat's a really high quality hat.
Yes.
Where do you have those made?
So local business, Fincher's Findings here in Hutchinson.
Say that again.
Fincher's Findings.
Fincher's Findings
Yeah.
here in Hutchinson, Kansas.
Brett Fincher.
Brett Fincher. So he does that for you. What was the turnaround on that?
2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. They were
And
in line with the cost of anything you could buy online.
let me see your hat real quick. So this is the thing. He was telling me about the cost of the hat. I'm not going to tell you what the cost was. I'm going to tell you it's extremely in line with everything I've looked at. And one of the things that I noticed with this hat is it's a really soft fabric. It's not that scratchy stuff. Like, I'm bald, folks, if you can't tell. And I don't wear hats very often because they scratch on my bald head and everything else. This hat is super, super soft. It's a vented hat.
It's like a stretchy nylon.
Yeah, it is. It's a really nice hat. I don't know what you would get them for anywhere else, but it's extremely cost comparative to any of the other locations you can get a hat from.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a hat, Fincher's
Findings. They got their catalogs that thick.
Oh my goodness.
Shirts and polos and pins and
Really?
anything you can
Do they do any like upland game shirts or anything
do
like that?
anything you want them to do.
Really?
Yeah.
So I need to go talk to them.
He does a lot of shirts. I think he told me they make about 1,000 T-shirts a day,
Cool.
plus, all the other stuff.
Man, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He must have some room in his facility.
It's all made here in Kansas.
Yeah.
His office is here in Hutchinson. I think their production facilities in Great Bend or somewhere west. Not 100% on that,
Okay.
but there's a facility.
There's a facility that gets work done.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The other thing we're going to be looking into, what was that IT tech support system?
Leading edge technology solutions.
Leading edge technologies. So we're going to let you know how they work out. We're having opportunities, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is one of the things that I mentioned in the first chunk that unfortunately disappeared is this Old Forester King Ranch edition was given to us for the podcast from a veteran. CQ Game Birds had the great opportunity to work with Camo Ventures last weekend, and we sponsored a upland game hunt for 5 veterans, and one of the veterans was kind enough to bring this up from Texas for us, and thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service. It's actually Matt. Sorry, Matt. I apologize. I
was just going to thank Mike.
Yes, he was going to thank Mike, Matt, AJ, all the guys that came. And thank you for your service. Thank you for the bottle. We greatly appreciate it in the podcast. Matt owns a tile cleaning company in Texas, doing quite well.
Like floor tile?
Yes. Unfortunately, through the weekend, I don't think we ever shared the name of the company, but
Matt's Tile Cleaning.
Yeah,
Google, you'll
yeah.
find it.
Just Google it.
Somewhere in
Matt's
Texas.
Tile Cleaning in Texas, Galveston, Texas.
It's
matter of
Galveston.
fact.
Well, that would
yes.
help.
Yes,
Little.
Galveston, Texas. Really good guys. Fantastic human beings. I met a veteran that after he got out, I'm not going to share his name, but life was rough.
Sure.
Right. And he has turned his life around through Camo Adventures, and now he comes out and helps with Camo Adventures with hunts, and then he also works with another group that does rodeoing, teaches veterans how to rope and how to do all kinds of stuff so they can go back and cowboy. It's pretty interesting. So thank you guys all for your service.
There's a big need for that.
Maybe in Texas
Well, I mean,
or Wyoming,
Texas,
maybe
Montana,
Montana. Yeah,
Canada.
Canada.
There's a lot of land. I don't know.
There's a lot of land, but
there's cowboys.
You better have some extra thick underwear, something to keep you warm. So, thank you all for listening. We're going to have Tim back on as soon as we get our.
We're going to make a headstone together.
Yes, we are going to make a headstone together, and we're going to attach it to this video. So this video might be 2-3 weeks out, depending on when we get together and when Carson can come help us.
They won't know that.
They will now.
Because it'll just come out.
It'll just come out. So thank you very much. Remember, shop America first. Shop your local mom and pop stores. Stay away from buying anything that's not American made if you possibly can, to support our local economies and to grow the wonderful, amazing United States of America. Thank you again. Talk to you later.